Tonight on News Hour, Kirioyi village in Katsina State came under bandits' attack. One person killed. Disengaged textile workers protest in Kaduna, demand payment of outstanding entitlements. Ministries, departments and agencies indicted by Auditor General report to account for 324 billion naira. And on the foreign scene, several killed as heavy rains caused floods in Iraq's Erbil. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. The news in full. Kirioyi village of Katsina State came under bandits' attack. Locals say the bandits, however, did not kidnap anyone but have assaulted many women and children, also rustling a substantial number of cows. Abdullahi Amadi gives an update.
The update I have is that one Tasu Ibrahim of Ringin Idi and Ibrahim Erikiria of Erikiria village, all in Musa local government, confirmed to Trust Television that their villages came under attack last night, that is Thursday night. Bandits in their hundreds went to the villages and started shooting sporadically. They wrestled about 200 cattle, that is about 200 cows, and they assaulted many women, and of course they killed 2 people in the villages. In Kirioyi village, they killed 1 person, and of course in Sabongaren Nadunya they killed another one. And of course, the people are now living in very much fears. Most of the women and children have started leaving the villages to other neighboring towns for the fear of another attack, maybe this night or any other time again. And information close to the villages indicate that most of the households are now passing the night in bushes and on top of trees for the fear of being attacked again. And another information I want to share with you is that most of these attacks are from bandits who usually go to such villages in their hundreds, and they were carrying various weapons, dangerous weapons, especially AK-47 and AK-49. This is an information we are receiving from most of these villagers. And when I contacted the Public Relations Officer of Katsina State Police Command, SP Gambo Isa, this morning, he told me that they did not receive any information with regards to those attacks on Kirioyi and Gidam Alhaji Gwanda near Sabong, Garinadunga, or in Musa local government. They didn't receive any information with regards to those attacks.
Meanwhile, the state government says at least 9 people were reported killed and 2 others injured in separate attacks in Chukun, Zaria and Zangon Kataf local government areas of the state. The State's Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, said this in a statement on Friday. He said according to reports, 3 people were killed when bandits barricaded the Buruku Udawa section of Kaduna Birnin-Gwari Road in Chukun local government area. The victims were identified as Umma Ibro Kwantagura, Abdullahi Numa Kwantagura, and 1 male adult yet to be identified. 1 person, identified as Jamila Kafinta Udawa, sustained gunshot injuries and is receiving treatment in the hospital. In the Yola Kadi General area, also of Chukun local government area, bandits killed 1 Njumame Ungwa and left residents injured, adding that bandits killed 2 people in Sako village in Zamgon Kataf local government area. The victims were identified as Samson Maza and David Garba. Also, in Zangon Kataf local government, 2 corpses were discovered by a patrol team in the Kurfi Magamia general area. The corpses were identified as the remains of Nehemia Abba and Samuel Gwaza. In Zaria local government, 1 Habibu was shot to death by bandits in Saye village. Governor Nasiru Ahmed El-Rufai expressed sadness at these reports and prayed for the repose of the souls of those killed in the attacks, while wishing the injured a speedy recovery. And a father alongside his two sons have been killed on their way back from the farm by yet-to-be-identified assailants in Ore community at Ore Egbegba Road of Apa Aguila Council Ward in Ado local government area of Benue State. The spokesperson for the police command in Benue, DSP Catherine Anene, and the chairman of Ado local government area, James Oche, confirmed the incident to newsmen in Makurdi, noting that the matter has been reported to security agencies whose personnel are already on the trail of the perpetrators, while few arrests have been made and the suspects will help with the ongoing investigation. Reports say the incident of killings have occurred repeatedly in some areas of Ado bordering Ebonyi State, where boundary disputes continue to unsettle the inhabitants, while there had also been reported cases of herders' invasion. The Coalition of Disengaged Textile Workers in Kaduna State have appealed to the management of Ariwa Textile Limited to pay their entitlements before selling off the mill. Ariwa Textile closed in 2005 and has laid off 4,000 workers who are still hoping to get their entitlements. The workers also appealed to northern elders and political leaders to intervene in finding solutions to their plight. During a peaceful protest at the gate of the defunct textile mill, some of the workers displayed placards with different inscriptions that pleaded for settlement of their entitlements.
Notex and Fantex. And this mill closed between 2003 and 2005 without the payment of our total entitlement, the gratuity and our total emolument. Nothing was done. All this while, we faced a lot of difficulties. Since the closure of these mills, our entitlement was not paid. We faced a lot of difficulties. Many of our workers became frustrated. Many marriages within the family of these textile workers disengaged. Many things happened to us. Our children don't even go to schools. Our wives, our daughters became street hawkers.
There are many of us. There are some of us that are old that they cannot be employed at anywhere. So they depend on their children. Some of the children are hawking, and our women, some of them, if they are lucky, they get something to be buying firewood and sell, or granite, and so on and so forth.
Rather because of the notice that we saw on the board here, that they are going to demolish the company, and yet our entitlement is still here. They never pay us.
At a man of 70 working in night security of 3,000 naira who cannot feed my grandson are still upkeeping. When we are doing something, God will direct my destiny helper to locate me.
In fact, our greatest surprise is on the executive governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, whom some of us here, between 2015 and 2019, we fought at him. Today, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai is saying he revoked the landed, the CFO of Ariwa Textile and some other means, which we are saying, please let him revisit his weight. We are saying no to that because Arewa, Notex, Ketel, Fantex, they are standing, the building here is just like a collateral to our entire...
Federal ministries, departments and agencies have failed to account for 323.5 billion naira in 2019, with many offices violating rules on payments, remittances and tax. According to reports, most of the latest reports from the Auditor General of the Federation said the dubious spending include unapproved allowances, unretired advances, irregular award of contract, payment for services not executed and payments without voucher. According to the report, most of the violations were observed across 27 MDAs, with at least 4 of them recording cross-cutting issues from non-compliance and internal control weakness issues. According to the report, the largest chunk of the expenditure is 132.5 billion used in paying unapproved allowances to staff in 20 MDAs. Adding that the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting PLC spent the highest amount of over 97 billion naira, while the National Commission for Colleges of Education, Abuja, spent 2 million naira, which is the least. Right now, we're being joined with Hamza Lawal, who is the Executive Director, Connectic Development Code, and he joins us in the studio right now to discuss the Auditor General's report. You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, Mala Hamza, let's begin with this question. What was your initial reaction when you got this Accountant General's report? What was your initial reaction to these figures that were actually brought out?
It's really sad and unfortunate. It's sad because here's a government who is fighting corruption, and this says all about impunity, because you cannot spend monies that are not appropriated by the National Assembly and signed into law by the President. So again, this is really sad and unfortunate that we're in a country where MDAs are spending monies that are not appropriated, that are not approved, but they're spending. And beyond even spending, they're not even able to account for some of this money. What kind of country is this?
And this report actually brought some figures from 2019. What actually took so long to be able to discover all this?
Again, we have a very weak audit regime. Today, the law that provides legal and regulatory framework for audit is archaic. I'm aware that there is an audit bill at the National Assembly that have yet to be passed. And then I wonder what will become this National Assembly's legacy? What will become President Muhammadu Buhari's legacy? Because when you appropriate money and you release money, and then these monies are spent, and then we don't do audits to ensure value for money, then it's just a circle of corruption. So the only way we can get it right is to ensure that we have an audit law that empowers the Office of the Auditor General not only to publish this statement, but also prosecute. Because what we have now is a dog without teeth. He can only bark, but he cannot bite. And why is it that it's just now that this report is being released? Since 2019. So what would now become of 2020 and 2021? We're going into 2022. So again, it tells you that there's a weak audit, legal and regulatory framework. The regime is really weak. Office of the Auditor General's hand are tied. So we must ensure that the audit bill is passed as soon as possible and get the President to sign it. Okay,
so when we're talking about making audits and, of course, prosecuting those that have actually found wanting, that means the deed has already been done. What do we do? What kind of strategy should we put in place to be able to block these leakages in the first place and stop them from happening?
I think first the National Assembly must play her oversight function. They must take their mandates and their role as prescribed under the Constitution seriously. My work is to follow the money, to ensure that monies that have been budgeted for and released are properly utilized. That's the role of the National Assembly. We need them to actually wake up and follow the money. Because if they're following the money, probably by now would have had a state of emergency where they call for a public hearing, where they call the heads of these MDAs, ministries and parastatals, to come and give an account and explain why they would utilize monies that are not appropriated. That, that is floating the law. This is a collapse of our laws. If we cannot follow the laws, the constitutions and the laws set aside, that means, we're heading towards anarchy.
Okay. So we not only having the laws, but make sure that these laws are actually followed.
Oh yes, and it's the role of the National Assembly. They've appropriated, the executive, that the president have signed, then the National Assembly would provide oversight. They would, and that's why we have various committees at the National Assembly. So these various committees and the MDAs that their accounts have been flagged, what are they planning to do? Why are we not hearing that they're calling for public hearing? We need to ensure that citizens and civil society are in the room, and let's have the heads of these MDAs come and make a case on why they're spending the money. And I think President Muhammadu Buhari has to act. If he's he won his presidency because he said he was going to come and fight corruption.
Exactly.
This is how you fight corruption. Let him first suspend all the heads of these MDAs, the ministries that are found wanting. He should suspend the ministers and those leading the parastatals. Then he commissioned an independent investigation on what has transpired, because that's how you can then provide recommendation and close these leakages. But most importantly, the National Assembly must pass the audit bill in no time and ensure that President Muhammadu Buhari signs this bill so it becomes part of his legacy to provide a legal and regulatory framework that fights corruption on its own.
Okay, so that at least you'll put more might into the fight against corruption. Well, thank you very much for that insight on how we can be able to do that. Hamza Lawal, we are grateful.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So you're still watching Trust TV, and this is News Hour. The news continues after this break.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the Trust TV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search Trust TV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
You're welcome back. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. Now a look at some of our top stories. Kidioyi village in Katsina came under bandits' attack. Locals said bandits, however, did not kidnap anyone, but have assaulted many women and children and rustling substantial numbers of cows. And coalition of disengaged textile workers in Kaduna State have appealed to the management of Arewa Textile Limited to pay their entitlements before selling off the mill. And now to other stories. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have intercepted 64,000 pump-action gun cartridges and a new pump-action gun at a store located at Success Line Marine Modern Market, Onitsha, Awka North local government area of Anambra State. The operatives also arrested an arms dealer, 34-year-old Donatus Onyemachi, following a credible intelligence on drugs and arms deal in the location. Director, Media and Advocacy, NDLEA Headquarters, Abuja, Femi Babafemi, said this on Friday. In another development, he said the NDLEA operatives on patrol along Okene-Lokoja Expressway in Kogi State intercepted 34 children between the ages of 8 and 14 being trafficked from Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, to Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. The minors packed in 2 commercial buses, a Toyota Sienna and a 12-seater Mazda, with registration numbers Lagos LND 124 FV and Oyo BDJ 683YK, were discovered in the early hours of Thursday from human trafficking syndicate. He said the bus drivers confirmed that the kids were handed over to them by a woman at Ijebu-Ode to be conveyed to Abuja, adding that on arrival in the FCT, the woman is to call another bus driver who will convey the children to Riom in Plateau State. Blindness is an impediment of people's sight. Some of the conditions are curable, while some are not. They are depending on the cause and the plights of the patients. In Gombe Metropolis, Angoma Kaifi hosts a number of visually impaired people where a kingdom of the blind has been in existence for more than 5 decades. Ibrahim Ismail meets the king of the blind in Gombe. The report.
This is the Sarki Makafi of Gombe, meaning the king of the blind in Gombe. He was appointed by the 9th Emir of Gombe. Late Malam Abubakar Umar, the 105-year-old Ahmad Ibrahim has a kingdom with advisors and other subordinate traditional title holders like that of a typical emirate in northern Nigeria.
The Emir of Gombe appointed me as the king of blind people. That was how the traditional title emerged. We have Yerima, Galadima, Madaki and Chiroma, about 30 traditional title holders reside in different areas.
The centenarian said the chieftaincy is still existing as they nominated a heir for the throne.
The chieftaincy is functioning. That is why we consider Yerima as my possible successor.
This is Gambo Isa Kinafa. He is the Wakil in Doka. He serves like a security guard to the king.
bisa ga ya kai shekara 50 yana kan karagar mulki. Sarkin Abubakar ne kuma ya naɗa shi zamanin Sarkin Abubakar. Yawwa, kuma sannan kuma da gaske sarki ya rike mu tsakaninsa da Allah ya maida mu ƴaƴansa.
The king has been on the throne before we came here, about 50 years now. Late Emir of Gombe, Abubakar, taban him. He treats us like his children. People come here from different countries. This is where we reside. I am an indigene of Gombe. I was born in Kinafa, Yamaltibeba. I don't know anyone when I came here, but he taban me.
From the submission of these visually impaired persons, the kingdom is a great pillar that operates with their support, but has multiple problems.
I
want to tell you something. All assistance meant for the kind don't get to him. There are some insiders. Even if they receive it, they don't bring it to him, unless if there is a need to travel. Then a fundraising will be launched.
Wani abun taimako ya taso ko na tafiya abun nan a zo a ce za a yi karo a zo a samu sarkin ba a faɗa mishi.
Kawai an bar mu kara zube sai mutum ya ganka a bakin titi kana bara ya ce shegu mabara.
We have been neglected. If people see us begging, they abuse us. Both government and wealthy individuals don't give us anything. This is a big challenge to Gombe State.
Most of these visually impaired people have put so much effort in a quest to find a cure to no avail. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV.
The International Center for Investigative Reporting has tasked Nigerians as well as media practitioners to explore the effective use of the nation's Freedom of Information law to demand accountability and access to public documents from the government and its agencies. The executive director of the ICIR, Dayo Ayaton, while speaking to newsmen during a one-day capacity building training for journalists in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, on the effective utilization of the pro-transparency law, says that 10 years after its passage, the law is still underutilized. He added that there is a need to increase awareness of the law among citizens, as it represents a strong tool for transparency and accountability in the country.
Sadly, it is civil society organizations that have been at the forefront of, using the act through making requests and so on. I would also say a few organizations like my organization, like Premium Times, a few journalists have actually also done that. By and large, I would say, well, we have done relatively well, but there are actually a number of things that impinge on the successful implementation. The other thing are those aspects of the act that we think should be reviewed. For example, number one, the penalty, 500, 1 year penalty is so small, it's not such a big disincentive.
The media need to pay more attention to the law and hold officials accountable regarding what they should do. I spoke about the need for more for naming and shaming for those who keep violating the law, that there is a need for us to pay attention. I said there is also a need to engage the judiciary so that FOI cases can be more speedily treated.
Parallel leaderships were sworn in after the state election of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, Kaduna Council, amidst crisis that has been rocking the union. One of the factions, led by Asma'u Halilu, took an oath of office in an event supervised by the National Vice President of NUJ Northwest Zone, Muhammad Tukur, while another faction, led by Farida Abubakar, also took an oath of office at the Council Secretariat, supervised by the State Credential Screening Committee. Speaking to Trust TV, the Vice President, Northwest Zone, said efforts to reach the former state executives to reconcile the issue failed. The crisis started when the national body disqualified Farida from the election, and upon dissolution of the former state executives, Asma'u became the sole candidate to vie for the position and subsequently sworn in.
Be tolerated in the NUJ Kaduna Council. We will revive our age-long glory. So by God's grace, we are going to rally round our new chairperson, new chairman, in the person of Asma'u, to make sure that she succeeds. And even those who think otherwise, they are still our members. We will bring them together to take the union to the next level.
We will expect that lots of things will change as soon as she takes over the mantle of leadership today. What we are really expecting from our members is cooperation. She's a female, though we don't have gender in journalism. And of course, we see her as female, but she has the heart of, a lion. And we want to believe that lots of things that were wrong will be right during her leadership.
Well, my take is that I'm not recognizing any chairman apart from me. I am the chairman that was sworn in by the Credentials Committee that were saddled with the responsibility of conducting an election. I was sworn in as the chairman on the 16th, and all documents of the NUJ was handed over to me by the outgoing executives. So I don't really think I recognize any other faction.
Then people said you were sworn in the middle of the night. They said it is against the constitution of the NUJ.
It is not against the constitution of the NUJ. Whatever we did, we adhered strictly to the constitution of the NUJ, and that is where we are where we are today. And we were sworn in at the middle of the night, yes. That was after 12 midnight on Wednesday night. So anytime after 12 midnight, it's exactly. So I was sworn in at about 2 a.m. That is very true. And we did that to avoid some crisis arising from the election.
So now there's another chairman is occupying the NUJ secretariat now.
Well, that is your take. You're addressing that person as a chairman. For me, there's no another chairman apart from me. And we're trying to make sure that the law takes its course. That is why we're allowing this at this stage. We don't want to be part of any crisis as it is. but we are guided by the law.
What's the next action?
The law, just like I said, the law will, we are guided by the law and the law will take its course. I don't want to say that here.
First and foremost, we want to immediately set up a reconciliation committee where we will unite all members. Secondly, we will prioritize the welfare of all members, where every member, being inactive or active, will be carried along. We'll run an open door policy and ensure that everyone is carried on, nobody will be sidelined. And we'll uphold professionalism. We'll ensure that we sweep out all quacks within our profession so that we'll restore the glory of our profession.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. We believe there is victory for us. There is victory for us. In the struggle of our members, there is victory for us.
A Pan-African youth advocacy group is calling on youth across Africa to rise up and vie for political office. Global President of Ready to Lead Africa, Godbless Otubure, said now more than ever is the time for young Nigerians to take the mantle of leadership and pilot the affairs of the country. Otubure spoke during a conference organized in collaboration with the National Youth Service Corps to provide employability and job search strategies for youth, which held in Abuja. He also added that youth must strive to develop themselves as they prepare to take over leadership.
His role is not just to amass wealth, but to connect jobs, entrepreneurs, and those who are engaged in civic work. That is why we are consistently and now saying that it is important that those who will lead the continent tomorrow are the people who understand the connection between jobs, entrepreneurship, and democracy.
It's important to develop skills so that preparation can actually meet opportunity. When the time comes where they say, okay, well, are you ready to play a part in governance in Nigeria? You can say, yes, of course, I have all of these ideas. But if all that we do is complain, when the opportunity comes, how are we going to be ready to make any changes? So it's very important for us to move from a period of complaining and to action, because we're outraged about so many things. I'm a northern Nigerian and there's so much that is happening in the north that we're just not happy about. Our people are dying on a daily basis. Security is a major problem, but we need to convert that outrage to action.
NYSC is looking forward to the government to support the creation of a trust fund for NYSC, and that trust fund is basically to be able to give graduating corps members startup funds, so as to be able to actualize what they have learned under the skill acquisition and entrepreneurship development project. Because the difficulty the federal government has made facilities available, but most times you discover that it does not get to everybody.
In a bid to check the excesses of oil thieves and ensure safety of critical national assets from economic saboteurs in Rivers State, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, has reaffirmed its commitment to ridding the state of illegal oil bunkering. This followed the arrest of 40 suspected oil thieves, along with 10 trucks used in carrying out the illegal activity in the state. The report.
Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ahmed Abubakar Audi, who was on a working visit to Rivers State Command, paraded the suspects and other exhibits seized from them at the headquarters in Port Harcourt. Audi wants oil theft and vandals to relocate from Nigeria, as the Corps will not stop its operations against them until those stealing the country's resources are brought to book.
They have now resorted in breaking the pipes, cutting them, removing them. After getting the products, they resell the pipes. And these are an example of Ajib pipelines, belongs to Ajib. And we have arrested the first host of them, not only in Rivers, but some of them in Bayelsa, in Delta.
He also disclosed that 10 tankers, 9 boat, 100 petroleum pipes, 69 containers and sack filled with adulterated petroleum product were confiscated by operator from the suspects.
Each canoe here loaded can take about 2, 3, 4 trailers loaded. And they use these drones. You can see these drones, they use it. And each canoe can take about 150 drones. And when you check the equivalent of it, you see that it will about 2, 3, sometimes even 4 trailers. Army, Navy, you know, they have been very helpful, where there has been a very effective synergy between our core, the sub, and another one, and those services. And we like to appreciate them for that.
Then NCDC boss, who also visited the command exhibitor site at Bogoro and Iribe, had a sea surveillance exercise with some officials and enumerated the negative impact of oil theft on the country's economy.
We know that one of the effects is that it pollutes our environment, it degrades our environment, it also disallows us from providing food for the nation. It destroys our farm and farmlands. And also sometimes, or many times, out of pollution, it doesn't give us opportunity to take good water. So the debilitating and the devastating effect of vandalism is so intense that we really need to come together to fight it to stop. And I'd like to say that all criminals that are involved in vandalism should find another place they should relocate.
The Commandant General says the arrested suspects are currently undergoing thorough investigation and will soon be charged to court for prosecution. He also called on spirited individuals in the state to report any strange movement around them and critical assets in the state to the nearest security post for prompt action.
Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission (NUPRC) says its investigations reveal that petroleum products dealers in Rivers State are diverting petroleum products to unknown destinations, following the recent lingering panic buying of petroleum in the state. Zonal Controller of the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Professor Gode Ine, told newsmen shortly after a surveillance exercise that some of the petrol retail outlets owners are responsible for the artificial fuel scarcity in the state. The report.
Professor Gode Ine said 3 petroleum retail outlets were sealed for diversion of products during the Commission's surveillance. He said the NUPRC will sanction such dealers to serve as deterrent to others. The zonal controller said the commission will not relent in ensuring petroleum products are evenly distributed appropriately. Meanwhile, one of the petroleum marketer, however, disagrees with the NUPRC for sealing his fuel station. Some residents share their experience getting petroleum products in the past few days.
The lingering panic buying in the state, that some of the petroleum dealers are diverting the products they have lifted from the depots to their destination stations. Unfortunately, my men are always alert. When we conducted such surveillance, we discovered that those stations where those products were to be taken to had no product. So the question is, where have they taken the product to? Because they are not selling those stations and there are no products in their tanks. So something is fishy.
There are rules to loading, right? The person that must have loaded, who should have presented my DPR license to you, to the official that put this on the batch, on the schedule, should produce my license for this station. We will now go to the union to go and get the truck number and station the truck. That is what I'm expecting that would have happened. We should be having a conversation when things go wrong.
They always talk about subsidy. Every time we look around, somebody is talking about subsidy removal. At the end of it, there's another round of subsidy agitation and all that. So I'm fed up. I've given up. I leave everything in the hands of God. I don't think the Nigerian government is doing very well. Why are the refineries always performing below capacity? Why are the refineries always down? Why are they not working? If they were working, we wouldn't be in this kind of mess.
Professor Goodyear Ine said the commission is coming after petrol retail outlets located in rural areas who sell petroleum products at unapproved pump price.
We have sealed those stations. We can count the number of 3 of them that have been sealed, and we are continuing to engage in such surveillance until normalcy return to the petrol stations.
You're still watching Trust TV News Hour. The news continues after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back to News Hour. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State has assented to the state's 2022 appropriation bill of 479 billion naira. The governor also signed 5 other bills, including Delta State House of Assembly Service Establishment Bill 2021, amongst others. Onora Anuobodo has details of the report.
Delta State 2022 appropriation bill of 479 billion naira has been signed into law by Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, who reiterated the determination of his administration to finish strong in spite of the financial challenges in the country. Governor Okowa also signed 5 other bills, including Delta State House of Assembly Service Establishment Bill 2021, Delta State Registration of Community Development Associations Bill 2021, Delta State Debt Management Bill 2021, Delta State Erosion and Watershed Management Bill 2021, and Asaba Specialist Hospital Bill 2021. Signing the appropriation bill, Okowa assured Deltans that the state will strive to implement capital projects embedded in the 2022 budget, as well as complete all ongoing projects before the end of his tenure.
We will continue to do our best within the limits of the resources available. We are quite hopeful that there will be a turnaround in the year 2022, and we hope that we'll be able to execute the various capital projects that are contained in our budget, both the new projects, but more essentially the ongoing projects towards ensuring that they are completed.
Presenting the bills, the Speaker of the Assembly, Chief Sheriff Oboriwowa, said that the bill went through all legislative processes before being passed.
The application bill has been accepted to, and it's going to be a good start for the year 2022, and to consolidate on all the projects and ongoing programs of the states.
Onora Anuobodo for Trust TV.
Now let's join Chamun Dabeng for business news.
Nigerian Content Development Management Board (NCDMB) says about 53 local oil service firms have gained access to the $300 million Nigerian Content Development Fund (NCDF) between 2018 and this year. The general manager of the agency, Obinna Ofili, stated this during a capacity building workshop for the media in Abuja. Ofili stated that the $300 million fund, which is a 1% contribution from all oil and gas firms domiciled at the Bank of Industry (BOI) on behalf of NCDMB, has recorded successes, adding that local firms can access between $5 million and $10 million for a 5-year tenure at an 8% interest rate. House of Representatives is to investigate the level of compliance of all information and communication technology ICT-aided transport companies with the country's extant tax laws. The ad hoc committee is to look into companies like Bolt and Uber that offer technology-based services and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. The decision to set up the committee followed the adoption of a motion moved by Ganiu Abiodun Johnson. Nigeria is to get part of a $93 billion replenishment package from the World Bank through the International Development Association to help its economy. Nigeria is one of the 74 other poor countries that will benefit from the finance package, which is agreed upon during a 2-day virtual conference hosted by Japan. 48 high and middle income countries have committed to support with $23.5 billion, while the rest of the financing would come from capital market financing, repayments, and World Bank contributions, making it the largest amount ever mobilized by the IDA in its 61-year history on the subject. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabeng.
And on the foreign scene, at least 8 people are dead and several injured after torrential rains caused severe flooding in Erbil, the capital of the semi-autonomous Kurdish region of northern Iraq. Provincial Governor Omid Koshnau said on Friday that women and children are among those killed after the heavy overnight downpour swept through a number of residential areas. He called on residents to stay at home unless necessary, warning that further rain is expected with fears of more floods. Civil Defense spokesperson Sarakat Karash said that many people have been forced to leave their homes as searches are ongoing for missing people, warning that the death toll could rise. Reports said torrents of muddy water poured down roads, buses, trucks and tankers were washed away by the storm waters, with some toppled onto their side. Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says he is determined to address the deficits in the governance of both pandemics and the international financial system. He stated this in an end-of-year press stakeout.
We have a serious governance problem with respect to the prevention, detection and response to pandemics, and we have a serious governance problem in relation to the international financial system. I'm determined that 2022 must be the year in which we finally address the deficits in both governance systems. And this is a central aspect of the common agenda. Now, in making those much needed reforms, we will move to a much more fair, peaceful and sustainable world. 2 months ago, the WHO unveiled a strategy to vaccinate 40% of people in all countries by the end of the year and 70% by the middle of next year. That strategy required the total commitment of member states, especially those with vaccine production capabilities or large supplies. But just days from the deadline, 98 countries have not been able to meet that end-of-the-year target. 40 of them have not yet even been able to vaccinate 10% of their population. And in lower-income countries, less than 4% of the population are fully vaccinated. And the vaccination rates in high-income countries are 8 times higher than in the countries of Africa. At current rates, Africa will not meet the 70% threshold until August 2024. So vaccine inequity is giving variants a free pass to run wild, ravaging the health of people and economies in every corner of the globe. We cannot defeat the pandemic in an uncoordinated way.
And finally, from the foreign scene, in Japan, 24 people have been confirmed dead in a fire that broke out on the 4th floor of an 8-story building in a shopping and entertainment area in the city of Osaka. Updates as monitored from Xinhua.
At least 24 people have been confirmed dead from a fire that broke out in Japan's Osaka prefecture on Friday. The fire broke out within a medical clinic, which provides psychosomatic and psychiatric treatments, on the 4th floor of a building. The blaze was put out about half an hour later. The police said they are investigating the incident as a suspected arson. There was a report that a man lit fire in the building in Kita Ward in the western Japanese city. The police were also informed that the fire had been started from liquid dispersed from a paper bag brought in by a man who appeared to be in his 60s. There was a witness report that the suspect placed the bag near the clinic's reception counter.
And now let's join Adeni Ajishafe for the latest in sports news.
Sunshine Spikers of our volleyball club, Nigeria Immigration Service and Nigerian Police Force recorded victory in their matches in the men's category at the ongoing final phase of the 2021 Nigerian Volleyball Premier League in Abuja. Nigeria Customs Service beat NSCDC 3-1 in the men's match 18 to maintain their unbeaten run. Sunshine Spikers recorded their third win, beating Correctional Service 3-0, while Offa Volleyball Club recorded their second win as they defeated USEM Volleyball Club 3-0. Kano Pillars from a set down to beat Nigeria Immigration Service 3-1 as Nigerian Police Force got their first victory against Chief of Army Staff Spikers 3-1 in the men's match 18. Head coach of Nigerian Police Force Taiwo Oladipupo says the win will further boost the morale of the players after losing 3 matches. In the women category, Nigeria Immigration Service won 3-1 over Nigerian Police Force. Ahead of the 2021-2022 league season, League Management Company LMC has adjusted date of match day 1. In the earlier fixtures, match day 1 was scheduled to kick off on the 17th of December, but the football body has decided to rearrange the date. New date release indicated that the match involving MFM FC and Remo Stars at Mobolaji Johnson Arena will be the only game on Friday, 17th of December, as the rest of the match day 1 matches have been shifted to Sunday, the 19th of December. Third edition of ValueJet Para Table Tennis Open serves off today at the Molade Okoya Thomas Hall of Teslim Balogun Stadium, Surulere. The 3-day championship, which will be in 45 events, is aimed at shaping up para table tennis players for future events. Chairman of Para Division of the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation (NTTF), Anderson Bankole, says the competition has proven that Nigeria has talents that can compete with the best in the world, as demonstrated in the past world event. Executive Chairman, Lagos State Sports Commission, Shola Ayepeku, says the state remains dedicated to the championship to encourage athletes to work hard in order to be world best. ITTF's representative at the competition, Francisco Nozzo, says the contest will help the world body to establish Nigeria as one of the countries hosting major para tournament next year. Para Table Tennis Championship ends on December 18. Super Eagles and Kaizer Chiefs of South Africa goalkeeper Daniel Akpeyi is among the high-profile players free to sign a pre-contract agreement with any club of their choice by January 2022. Akpeyi joined Kaizer Chiefs in 2019 after an amazing outing with South African club Chippa United. Akpeyi has been able to hold his own despite being among the South African international goalkeepers Kune Itemeleng and Vuma since 2019. Despite Kaizer Chiefs' shaky start to the season, Nigeria International has been outstanding in the league. His contract will expire at the end of the season, and Amakosi are yet to renew offer for the goaltender. Akpeyi is open to joining any other club by January with 6 months remaining on his contract. That's sport news. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And that wraps up Trust TV News Hour for this evening. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.